the African warrior Queen Europe feared most. In 1622, a powerful European general tried to humiliate an African princess. He told her to sit on the dirt floor. What happened next didn't just start a war. It revealed a hidden, terrifying secret about this woman's will that would haunt an entire empire for 40 years. That secret: she didn't just refuse the floor. She commanded a servant to kneel and used him as her throne. But that was just the start. The Portuguese thought they could conquer her kingdom of Ndongo. They were wrong. They pushed her to the brink, forcing her to make an alliance so brutal, so terrifying, that even her own people questioned her sanity. We'll reveal the shocking terms of that deal, the Imbangala Pact, later in this video. Nzinga Ana de Suzamband was not yet queen, but a diplomatic envoy for her brother, the king. The Portuguese governor, João Correia de Sousa, wanted land and slaves. He also wanted respect, the kind you get from an inferior. He offered her a mat, which was a trap. If she sit on it, then she admits she is below the Portuguese crown. Nzinga saw the trap immediately. Without blinking, she signaled one of her attendants. She sat on him, eye level with the governor. A chilling, instant display of power. She delivered the message: "You deal with me as an equal or you don't deal at all." The governor was furious, but he signed the treaty. Why? Because the war was already destroying his profits. Of course, the peace treaty lasted only months. The Portuguese broke it, seizing land. Then tragedy struck. Her brother, the king, died. Nzinga immediately claimed the throne. Radical move. In her society, a woman ruling was highly unusual, but Nzinga had the royal blood and the political savvy. The Portuguese refused to recognize her. They installed a puppet king. Nzinga had a choice: surrender or fight a war she couldn't possibly win alone. He chose the fight. After 2 years of brutal losses, she was forced to flee the capital. She was a queen without a kingdom, running for her life into the wilderness. Her situation seemed hopeless. But this exile was the very thing that would unlock her most dangerous weapon. Hiding in the forests, Nzinga realized she could not beat the Portuguese with the old ways. Their guns were too strong. Their numbers were too great. She needed a new kind of army. And she found them in a terrifying, feared nomadic group, the Imbangala. The Imbangala were feared across the region. They were nomadic, ruthless warriors whose power came from a chilling military tradition. But Nzinga needed them. She sought an audience with their leader. To truly lead them, Nzinga had to become one of them. This meant more than just an alliance. It meant full assimilation. The rituals were intense, designed to strip away the old self, and Nzinga embraced them completely. She reportedly adopted male titles. She cut her hair. She even ordered her female attendants to train as soldiers, something unheard of. She merged her people with the Imbangala's fighting force. She learned their guerrilla tactics, using the terrain as a weapon, striking fast and vanishing. She turned her entire kingdom into a moving, living fortress. Nzinga was no longer just a diplomatic queen. She was a savage, terrifying warrior king leading an army that lived for the fight. The Portuguese laughed at her exile. They stopped laughing when her new army began to systematically dismantle their forts and supply lines. But this new power came at a shocking, devastating cost that historians only recently fully revealed. Here is the truth that makes Nzinga one of the most complex figures in history. To fuel her war, to buy the guns, the powder, and the resources needed to fight the Portuguese, she herself engaged in the slave trade. She raided neighboring groups and sold the captured to traders. It was a dark, strategic calculation. Survival required wealth. In 17th century Angola, the slave trade was the primary economy. By controlling a part of it, she could prevent the Portuguese from completely dominating the region and ensure her own people weren't the only ones in chains. Was it a morally bankrupt choice? Absolutely. But it was a calculated move made in a desperate fight for her nation's very existence. She used the enemy's own economic engine against them. As Nzinga fought in the interior, Europe's own rivalries reached Africa. The Dutch, enemies of the Portuguese, seized the key port of Luanda in 1641. Nzinga saw her chance. She immediately allied with the Dutch. She played two global empires against each other, trading intelligence and support. Together, they cornered the Portuguese. Nzinga used this temporary peace to rebuild her new kingdom, Matamba, creating a haven for runaway slaves and soldiers who wanted to join her fight. She built a permanent, legitimate power base. She was fighting, strategizing, and negotiating for 40 years, a feat of endurance no European power ever expected. In 1657, decades after the governor tried to make her sit on the floor, the war finally ended. Nzinga was 75 years old. The ultimate victory was not a battle, but a piece of paper. The final peace treaty. The Portuguese crown was forced to officially recognize Nzinga as the legitimate sovereign queen of Matamba. She had outfought, outwitted, and outlived every single colonial governor sent to defeat her. She secured her people's independence and her throne until her death in 1663 at the age of 81. She died in her own bed, in her own kingdom, on her own term. She was the one African ruler the Portuguese could not conquer. Queen Nzinga is the ultimate symbol of resistance, known today as the Mother of Angola. But there are countless other African legends whose stories have been lost to history. If you want to dive deeper into the incredible secrets of African empires and the powerful figures that changed the world, don't click away. Right now, YouTube is recommending another hidden story on your screen. Click it and subscribe to join us as we unlock the rest of history.